The next stage of the building of the boat involves gluing and scoring all of the joints of the boat. So that's why I've moved it now all onto a tarpaulin. That's just to stop any of the glue getting down onto the floor. You'll also notice that I've cut the two little tabs off the back there, because when I actually went to put the whole thing together, I'd actually built those on the wrong side of the boat. So it doesn't make any difference. The whole thing sticks together quite nicely. And also, I've actually refined the bits at the back of the boat, which you will have to do because that's going to vary from boat to boat depending on how it's been cut. So little bits of refinement will need to be made using a pair of scissors. And the way I score this is very simply to use the scissors, using the blunt end of the scissors, and to score all of the joints. And the joints you need to score are the joints joining the walls to the base. So you've got this one here. If I pick it up, you can see I've scored it along that line. Okay, and I've also scored it along this line, and I've scored this one along that line, so because it's going to fold backwards in a minute. And I've made lots and lots of scorings and lots of folds. And the idea is that you score and you fold everything before you actually have to use it. So ultimately, all this boat now is nicely scored up. Do not score these lines here, which are associated with the bow, but you do need to score the line associated with the stern, because the stern is ultimately going to fold up like this. So make sure that that back one is scored, but the one at the front for the bow isn't. Okay, next bit is the gluing. To prepare for the gluing stage, I've actually just put some tape tags along the side of this desk here. Now, you're going to have lots of children working with you, so I would suggest that you get the children to take a couple of these tags and have them handy. And also, I've got a length of masking tape here, and the masking tape I'm going to use to actually hold the sides of the boat parallel as the glue sets. Now, the glue takes about 5 minutes to set, and the whole point is that you kind of put this on fairly liberally, but just make sure that you don't go crazy with it. The idea is that we'll put the glue down along this edge here on the inside of the on the deck, and then we will fold everything over and stick it in place hold it in place with the tape. Anyway, I'll show you how to do that, and hopefully you'll get the idea on how to do it. With lots and lots of people around, this job is actually a lot easier than I'll make it look now, trying to do it on my own. Okay, the next stage of the gluing is to glue the stern section to the rest of the hull. And as you can see here, we have these flaps here, which we've actually already bent across, and they will actually slide up inside the two parts of the hull, something like that. Okay, give you a nice joint, and the same should happen on the other side. Slide it up into the end, and it will ultimately fit inside, glued on both sides. And you need to tape it in place as you do this. So again, have your tape handy, get your glue ready, and as you can see, I've now moved it up onto a set of tables, and this is just to make it easier to work with now. So there is ultimately your boat, the start of your boat, and you can see the slightly curved back end of the boat, but you can't see the pointed end of the bow yet. So that is quite a feat, but nothing that you can't handle. So we're almost there. We've almost got the shape of our boat in place. Okay, we're now in a position where we're going to try and glue the stern onto the back of the boat, or glue the stern and the boat's hull together. And we're going to put the glue on here and on here, and make sure you're over the tarpaulin as you do this, because glue does go everywhere during this stage. Key here is try and be as quick as you can, because actually you've got to do both sides at the same time, which kind of makes it just a little bit tricky. So what I tend to do is I tend to put a little bit of glue on there, spread it around, leaving that on the inside, because that way it won't drip onto the floor. I do a similar kind of thing on the other side. Okay, that way it tends not to drip down onto the floor. And then, and this is where it gets a bit tricky, very quickly put a touch on the back of here. And normally I have a child holding onto this side, and just put a little bit of glue on here. Put that on the other side of this. Okay, and now you offer these two up into the groove. You should be able to see there, one there, one there. Slowly offer them up into the groove. Both sides. There you go, that's it. And now reach for your pre-prepared tape, press it home, and pull the tape across. Press it home, and pull the tape across. This. Now the idea is to tag this all the way down the side, so that these two surfaces, all these surfaces, bind together. And they do this inside and out. Press them firmly together. And on the inside, press firmly, tag. Press firmly and tag. Okay. One more down the bottom, on this side. Press firmly and tag. And now you should end up with that joint nicely fixed. Same on this side. Press firmly and tag. Press firmly, tag, and on the inside as well. Press in firmly and tag. a bit more tape maybe in a minute. Press firmly together and tag. Press it firmly. Ultimately that's going to come down on the top like that and stick in place to give you strength across the back of the boat. So what you do now, a little bit more glue. Okay, not too much, not get crazy with this now. A bit on there and a bit on the other side. Tape. Again, we're going to just tag it in place. We'll trim it up, make it look nice and tidy in a minute. Okay. Try and get it square if you can. Same on the other side. That should give you the transom and the back of the boat. Now, it will need trimming up, but we can do that once the glue has set and we've taped it a little bit more firmly in place. Might put a little bit more tape on this side just to hold it in place. I can take that off if I think it's too much later on. Right, so that is the stern of the boat now been put in place, and this actually is across here, and there's an extra piece on the side to make the boat really, really strong at the back. Okay, now here we come to the last bit of the serious gluing. This is actually gluing the bow in place, and you've got two sets of flaps. One set of flaps here, and you've got another set of flaps down here. Okay, and the idea is that we're going to glue both of these together at roughly the same time. Now, because you've got lots of children around, lots of hands in this particular case do make this job relatively easy, but you do need a bit of coordination. So ultimately, I would practice doing this without the glue first and then do it with the glue. So I'm going to walk you through one side, but you do the same on both sides, hopefully simultaneously. So first step, you bring the side of the boat in, and as you do so, you raise the flap so it slots inside. It ends up looking something like that. This front flap that you see here, that bends around, and that's going to sit inside like that. So you now have that flap inside the main body of the boat, and this flap here comes up and just turns inwards. Notice I've actually taken this piece here and already cut it to shape, simply because doing a dry run helps you to get rid of all those things that might cause snags when you've got lots and lots of glue around. Okay, everyone happy with that? Okay, we're going to go for a gluing run. Again, it's a case of you need to do both sides at roughly the same time. And you need to have your tags and tags of tape, yellow tape, handy, so that when you need them, you can tag everything in place so that it can dry in place. So while I've been trying to do this on my own, I discovered it's probably easier to do this whole thing if you turn the boat upside down. So here I have the boat, the flat of the boat, upside down. I've got my jaws of my side here all lined up. I've got the jaws here all lined up with the flap here, as you can see. And I've got the other two flaps there and there. And hopefully this will make the whole thing a lot easier to get back and stick together. Ultimately, it depends upon having lots of helping hands at the important time to stick all the bits and pieces together. Okay, so lots of tags, lots of helping hands, and lots of the yellow tape tags ready to go. Okay, here I am ready to go. As you can see, I've got my tape tags on one side. I've got some slightly longer tape tags here. Those are going to be for the pointy bit of the bow. And I've got a similar setup on the other side. So the idea is to use the shorter tags, these tags here, to go along this joint and holding this piece together. And then the longer tags, these tags here, to go across the bow and hold the bow in place. So that's how we start. And I'm going to try and do this on time lapse. And hopefully that will help you to see how the whole thing goes together. The inside of the bow, I've also added a little bit of extra glue down the side there just to kind of hold it all in place, and also added some extra bits of tape on the inside of the bow just to hold that bow split together. So leave that to set for about another 5 or 10 minutes, and then your boat is effectively ready for you to add the extra bits to strengthen it. And we're just going to put one piece of strengthening across the back, another piece of strengthening across the front, and then your boat will be ready to decorate.